The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
Welcome to the Lovebird Connection, where we match boring singles who wouldn't have a prayer on their own. And here's your host, Chuck Woolsey. Okay, my first guest is a funeral home director from Burial, Alabama, who doesn't date often. As a matter of fact, he can't remember the last time he spoke to a woman who was breathing. Please welcome Ed Graves. So, Ed, you haven't been involved in the dating scene lately.
Mr. Woolsey, I am so sorry. No, I have not. How are you feeling?
Well, at least I'm alive, Ed. So you're a widower. How has that affected your social life?
That's correct, Mr. Woolsey. My wife, Janelle, passed away some 10 years ago after a severe battle with Legionnaire's disease, which she contracted after she and I attended a national funeral directors conference in Chattanooga. It was a devastating blow to our family, and since that dreadful period in my life, I have been hesitant to continue being active socially.
Okay, well, let's take a look at some of the women Ed had to pick through. First off, there was Inette, who enjoys clogging, romantic drives, and the smell of a freshly fertilized catfish pond. She's been married and divorced twice, and she's beating the bushes for victim number 3. Then there was Janelle, who says she won't go out with hopheads or devil worshippers. She is active in her church and spends most of her free time co-signing car loans for her sorry grandkids. She's separated. Finally, there was Mervette, whose last few dates have not been memorable, probably because Eisenhower was president the last time she went out. And Ed's going to tell us who he picked.
Well, I would have chosen Inette, but she looks a lot like a drowning victim I worked on this past summer. Janelle, of course, was my late wife's name, and I guess I would just expect too much.
So, who did you pick, Ed?
They were all such precious people, and they all looked so natural.
Who the hell did you pick, Ed?
Of course, I chose Mervette.
Okay, well, let's say hello to Mervette Musselwhite. Hello, Mervette. Mervette, are you okay?
It's lovely to see you again, Mervette. If there's anything we can do.
Did I leave my pocketbook in your hearse?
No, you laid it next to the flower bed in your yard.
Well, my son thought that you stole it and was talking about whipping your butt the next time he seen you.
Okay, Ed, tell us about the date.
Well, Mr. Woolsey, I telephoned Mervette and asked what she was doing on Wednesday, and she said that she had a doctor's appointment. Well, that sounded like fun, so I took the hearse and met her at her lovely home and was able to meet with the family, and I drove her to her physician's office.
Smooth, Ed. Boy, there's an icebreaker.
She had some inflammation of hemorrhoidal tissue and wanted to get it looked at. That was fun. Then we stopped off to get her prescription filled. Her pulse was running a bit fast, so while she checked her blood pressure on their machine, I talked burial plots with another woman.
Okay, well, Mervette, what'd you think of Ed at this point?
I thought he was a nut, but he probably puts on a pretty good funeral. He was well groomed and he brought flowers, and his Cadillac was vacuumed.
Okay, so where'd you go for dinner?
It was her mother's 91st birthday by coincidence, and we thought it would be fun to visit her at the convalescent home and remember the wonderful life that she and her mother had shared. Then we gathered in the cafeteria for a covered dish supper and to be close to her mother's body.
Wait a minute, Ed. You had dinner at a nursing home?
We did. Her mother was feeling nauseated and didn't have an appetite, so we split her deviled eggs and chicken in the room. Her mother was not well, so I gave her my card and we discussed a Heavenly Gardens package, which includes chapel services and last will and testament. Mr. Woolsey, have you and your loved ones discussed any prior arrangements?
You're sick, Ed. How did the date end?
We dropped by my place of business, Memory Mortuary, located at 86 Graves Road, and I gave Mervette a tour of our facilities. I gave her a long goodbye kiss in the embalming room. Then I drove her home so she could rest with the family.
Okay, well, Mervette, what was going through your mind?
I realized it was daylight and he was driving with his lights on, Chuck.
Okay, well, let's see who the audience picked. Inette by 70%. Of course, Ed, if you want to go out with Inette, we'll pay for the date.
No, Mr. Woolsey, I'd still like to show Mervette our vaults and give her one of our helpful brochures.
No, Chuck, no. He's already called my mother 6 times to see if she's still hanging on.
Okay, well, Ed, it looks like we didn't make a lovebird connection for you, but of course we do wish you a lot of luck.
That's okay. There's still a few women over at the funeral home I've got my eye on, and as soon as we can get a few husbands in the ground, who knows?
Well, we'll be back in 2 and 2.
Tim Wilson with The Lovebird Connection. Hi, welcome to the 42nd podcast of the Brain Sandwich Show. My name is Mike Madonna. I've been doing these programs alone and will continue for just a little while longer because Jim, Jay, and I can't get together real quickly, but we will get there. We will get there, I promise. So in the interim, I'm playing their movie reviews as part of these podcasts so that they get to be part of this thing until we can get together and do some new stuff. Now, the first one you're going to hear is called The Strangeness, and it's one of the shortest reviews I've ever done. You'll see why in just a little bit here. And also, it's got a little bit of an odd twist because they have people just coming into the room while they're reviewing the thing, and then they react to the film too. But this is the one review that caused me to tell Jim that he did the best Shemp impression that I've ever heard. Anyway, The Strangeness, The Terror Within, and Food of the Gods Part 2. Talk to you later.
Are you guys watching those god-awful movies again?
No, Gene, no, we're watching It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, that's right,
Jay.
with Jimmy Stewart.
And Donna Reed.
It's our favorite. Boy, you sound tired.
Are you sleepy?
I am really sleepy, but I can't sleep. There's this strangeness in the air somewhere.
Well, you know, some people are coming from the station tonight. We're going to write some scripts for the pledge drive. Maybe that's what you're thinking about.
Well, even though most of the people at the radio station are strange, I don't think that's it. Some other strangeness is in the air.
I know what it is.
What?
You're feeling the vibrations from the Voyager. As it just went past Neptune and it's on its way out to the edge of our galaxy. It's exciting, huh, Jay?
Uh-huh.
Are you sure that's the strangeness I feel?
Well, maybe.
maybe.
I know what it is. I know what it is now, for sure. It's the harmonic convergence, Gene. You know, where Jupiter lines up with Mars, and Mars lines up with Venus, and Venus lines up with Saturn, and Saturn lines up with Neptune, and Neptune lines up with
Okay. First of all, that happened 2 years ago.
Oh.
And second of all, my foot is going to come into harmonic convergence with the Uranus if you guys don't keep it down.
Oh.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.
Good night. Gosh.
Boy.
I guess we got her mad that time,
Yeah,
didn't
I
we?
guess so.
Well, what? Yeah, tell you, what is this? All this strangeness stuff? So
I'll tell you what the strangeness is, Jim. It's a movie.
oh no!
Yeah,
Really?
It's called The Strangeness.
Oh, that's
right.
good. That's good.
And it's about this cave someplace.
Yeah.
And it's got this monster that moves in slow motion. It kind of looks like an octopus, but it's stupid looking, see?
Yeah. Well,
But
sounds
it
good
does
already.
It sits down in the cave,
Yeah.
and these people come down there to look for gold in the cave, see?
Yeah.
But they don't find any gold.
What do they find?
They find this stupid-looking monster that runs around
Hey,
and kills everybody.
No, I can't wait to see this.
Let's put it in there.
All right.
In the last years of its operation, the Spike lost 14 good men to causes unknown. After the last series of disappearances, the miners put them up to see if anything was coming up behind them as they worked. When that failed to stop it, the miners refused to work altogether.
And the mine closed. Superstitious idiots. Where's that wind coming from?
Hell, Mr. Hemmings, straight from the pits of hell. The evil lives.
Grow up.
Jim, today's movie is The Strangeness. It's a 1985 release. I think it may have been South African or Australian in conjunction with an American film company. And it's about a bunch of miners. Well, actually, it's about a bunch of archaeology students or something who are going down with some miners into the bottom of this cave that hasn't been opened in a long time. A cave that has a really bad history, just like the opening scene showed us. Of course, they get down there, and they walk around the cave for like, an hour and 35 minutes, and not a whole lot happens in the movie. There's a monster in the cave, and it doesn't really. It gets a few people, I really can't tell what's happening in the movie very much of the time, Jim. I can say that I just found that this movie was profoundly, well,
Jay? 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 Jay, wake up. Wake up. Jay, we got people coming over. We got to finish the review. Jay, we got to finish the review before the people come over for the writing session.
Okay,
for,
I'm sorry.
for the pledge drive.
Yeah, okay, all right. It's a great movie, Jim. I like.
No, it's hopeless. Well, I don't blame him, really. I mean, the book that gives synopsis of these movies that we use occasionally describe this movie as long periods of nothing emphasized by short periods of nothing. And we're sort of watching one of those periods right now, and in fact, there's nothing happening. It's sort of getting to me. I don't know.
Knock, knock. Brain boys, we're here. Where are they? Look at this. They're both sound asleep. Some kind of movie on television. Sit down and take a look at it. Wow, what is that? They're in some kind of a cave or... Oh, jeez. Really not a very exciting movie. Oh, God. Whew. This is seriously boring. I just think I'll take a little snooze.
Jay, Jim, what are you guys doing? They're supposed to be watching It's a Wonderful Life. What are they doing sleeping? I know. They're probably watching those stupid movies again. Well, I'm going to find out what they're really watching. I'm going to sit down here and watch and see what they're really up to this time. Gee. God, boring.
Are you guys watching those god-awful movies again?
Oh, no,
Gene,
of course not. We're watching It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, with Jimmy Stewart.
And Donna Reed.
It's our favorite.
Don't you two lie to me. What are you really watching?
I don't know.
Terror.
What? Terrier? What'd you say?
No, terror.
Terrier?
Terrier.
There isn't a terrier other than Block.
Right, terrier,
We've
yeah,
got
yeah.
boxers, German shepherds, hound dogs. We've got lots of mutts, but we don't have any terriers.
Okay.
I'm going up to bed. Good night.
Yeah, it's great, Jim. It's
What?
Great.
What?
It's great. She said it. She said it
What?
again.
What'd she do? What'd she do? What? Said
she
what?
said the title again.
Well, no, she didn't. No, she said there's no terriers within blocks. What's that got to do with anything?
Jim, she said there's no terriers, not a terrier within blocks here. That's what
Yeah,
she said.
yeah.
Well, it's not that. The movie is called not the Terrier Within Blocks. It's called The Terror Within.
Oh.
That's right. It's great, Jim.
That's
it's about
pretty... Yeah, what's it about?
It's about this post-biological Holocaust group of people. See, they're living underground in the desert.
Yeah.
And they're surrounded by these gargoyle things.
Yeah,
see?
yeah.
All right? Well, anyway, everything seems okay, but then they bring this young woman into there. They find a humanoid kind of person up on top somewhere.
Yeah,
see,
yeah.
it's a big deal because she's pregnant.
Yeah.
See, so they bring her down into the cavern where they can experiment
Yeah.
and make sure, see what's keeping her alive out there. See.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out, like I said, she's pregnant, see? And they're real happy about it because, well, they think she's going to have a baby and a whole new life would start, a whole new generation and all that would start. See? Yeah. See, get it?
Yeah. So get
but
to the point.
instead of being a baby,
Yeah.
it turns out to be this mutant gargoyle thing that runs around
and kills everybody. Oh, that
That's
sounds
right,
wonderful.
Yeah. Let's put it in.
Well, she's got a very high T cell count, so she's definitely been exposed to the plague and somehow survived. But there's something else. She's pregnant.
You're certain?
Yeah, I ran 2 additional tests. Now, I haven't dealt with a pregnancy since med school, but I guess that she's about 3 months along.
Well, so all we need is another mouth to feed.
Don't you see it, Hal? She's been exposed to the plague, and she's gotten pregnant. It means there's still a chance for us out there.
If it's normal.
Ooh, if it's normal.
That's right.
That's
if
the big
it's
question, Jim. If it's normal. And you know what?
What?
Well, you and I have been watching these movies long enough to know one thing.
It's not.
You're
That's
right,
for sure.
Jim.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not normal at all. This movie, which is called The Terror Within, I don't even know when this thing was released, but it has a young Andrew Stevens and actually young, not really young, but younger George Kennedy. I think this thing's been in the can for 10 years. I'm not sure, but
Well, you can't tell by anything, any of the surroundings or any clothing or
No.
anything, because they're in this underground cavern or this medical facility
That's
or
right.
something the whole time. So
it looks to me like about a 1981 model mutant, though.
yeah, I think you're right. But
It had the fins on the front.
yeah, it had
and,
the
and
fins
a
on-
terrible overbite.
Yes, but I mean, it had the stars, Jay. You know, that's the only thing it had going for it, though. It had George Kennedy. That's it, and Andrew Stevens. Other than that, it had no dialogue, the
Yeah.
acting was okay.
It had the stars, Jim, but it wasn't in the stars for this to be a good movie, and it certainly wasn't. I can't say. I wish I could like this movie in a way, but I really couldn't. I wish I could like it because I went out and got it.
Yeah, so do I. But I'll tell you what. Let's not. I don't want to knock the whole thing. There are things that I found about it, Jay, that I liked, and I want to point one of those out right now. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know if you noticed it in the credits or not, Jay, but this is a Roger Corman movie.
A Roger Corman movie? I can't believe that.
Yeah, I mean,
this is
well,
too bad for a Roger Corman movie.
Well, yeah, his movies are all bad, but at least that's something. I mean, Roger Corman,
They're good bad movies. This is a bad movie.
Yeah, but it's still a Roger Corman movie, and
Wait a minute. Let me look at this. Okay, all right, you're right. Roger Corman was the executive producer of this thing.
Right, yeah.
That means he put up the money.
Well, yeah. Well, I bet he had a little bit
yeah.
to say about what happened.
I doubt it. He put the money up. Look at who actually was responsible for delivering the movie here, for the production and direction of the movie.
Well, Theory
Knotts. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly that's what you got here.
Well-
A Theory Knotts production.
Okay.
So Roger Corman puts the money up. I bet he lost every dime of it.
Okay. All right. Forget about that. Then I have
Okay.
another thing that I liked about it, even
All right.
though I didn't like the movie. Although the vertical blind credit, Jay. They had the vertical blinds got credit at the end. It said vertical blinds by M&B Blind Company. I mean, I've never seen that before. Have you?
No, I really haven't. This is a first.
Yeah,
It really is.
So we learned something today.
I don't know if I go that
vertical
far,
blind.
but yeah.
All right. Well, maybe that's. Well, okay. At least they portrayed everything was gone. The civilization was gone. Nothing
Except for
lasted.
a good set of vertical blinds.
Except for a good set of vertical blinds. Everything was gone. I mean, this woman that came in that was pregnant, she had a little box of jewelry, that she'd saved from when she was civilized, But other than that, everything else was gone. I mean, the only thing left of civilization was this little medical lab under the desert here.
Well, actually, wait a minute. There was one more remnant of civilization that you forgot.
What? What was that?
The jockeys for her that one woman was wearing.
Well, yeah, I did notice that. Actually, I didn't even think about it. But yeah, Jockey for Her managed to make it to whatever century this was or whatever year. So, okay, well, you've managed to shoot me down 3 times, but I got one other thing, Jay, that I really liked about it. You remember when we talked about pregnancy light, my idea for pregnancy light on the radio?
That's that hokey idea you had about pregnancy from the 90s, where it was
Right,
a
the new
6-month pregnancy instead of 9
Right,
months.
instead
just
of
like,
9 months.
like a low-cal pregnancy.
Right, sort of like that,
That's
yeah.
ridiculous. You made me listen to that thing for an hour the other day. That's a ridiculous argument. What does it have to do with this movie?
Well, all right. Look, there's a scene coming up I want you to hear, okay?
We've got a major problem. The girl. It's like her pregnancy is in fast forward. Last night, she was 3 months pregnant. This morning, when I checked her, I'd swear she's 7 or 8 months along.
CJ? Pregnancy light. Here it is. They think I'm not. They don't think I'm crazy. They think that it's possible. It could happen in the future. Okay, maybe it's a mutant kid with a big overbite and stupid skin
all right,
and big
okay.
feet and claws.
All right, okay. Listen.
What?
I'll give you that much, Jim. And so if it ever happens that a pregnancy light comes about in the future, you can make the claim for being the Nostradamus of the 1990s.
Oh, now come on. Now you're doing it again. Now it's no need.
I mean
for
Nostradamus of the 1990s.
Thank you. That's much better. Okay. All right. Well, I guess we should tell a little bit of this story, shouldn't we, Jay?
I guess.
Maybe not. But okay. So anyway,
I'll flip you for
these
it.
people are living down in the underground, and the woman comes in. She's pregnant, and they're going to abort this thing because they obviously think they know it's a mutant now, or what do they call them? A gargoyle. And so they try to operate, and they open it up, and it runs out. It bites the nurse on the hand, or the doctor runs out and gets into the air duct.
Kills everybody.
An hour later, by an hour later, Jay, the thing is like 6.5 feet tall. It has this big overbite and all this skin that's kind of developing. You can see some of its bone structure and stuff. It's obviously young. And within an hour and a half, Jay, it's ready to mate with one of the characters here, one of the women. It's going to mate and eventually does get her pregnant, and she ends up killing herself.
And in 2 hours, it's ready to retire and move to Florida.
Right, at least. I think that's at least what happens. And basically, they end up killing it, and they leave, blow it up, and they go to Denver. I don't know. I never quite got the ending.
Storyline, yeah.
I never quite got the ending, how it worked out. They just blew it up and went to Denver. I don't know. Oh, I know what it was. They figured out that the dog whistle, oh, this is important. This will make everybody get this movie, I'm sure, and rent it. Watch it. The dog whistle hurt their ears, Jay. So, Jay, what they did is they put this tone somehow in a megaphone, Jay. And they took the megaphone with them when they left and blew the lab up. A battery-powered megaphone, Jay, and they're going to walk to Denver from the Mojave Desert with a battery-powered megaphone to keep the gargoyles away. Sure.
Well, I don't know, Jim. It's science fiction. Now, don't be too picky, but it's a bad movie. I really feel sorry for George Kennedy in this, and the fine character actor George Kennedy, straight from his great performance in The Final Terror that we watched some weeks back. This is a sure sign that his career is on the skids.
I guess. I can't believe, of course, they never released this, so he's not feeling too bad. It's in video, and, you cannot almost excuse videos,
I don't know. Do you have anything more to say about this thing?
No, do you?
Yeah, let's take this movie, blow it up, and walk to Dupo.
Sounds good. I like it. One lobotomy.
Yeah, one lobotomy. I don't know, Jim. Look, Roger Corman's got his name on this. It should be worth at least another half a lobotomy.
Well, maybe for you, but I'll stick with my one.
Well,
I think that's
all
it is.
So it evens
fine.
out.
Oh, okay.
All right.
It's going to be that way again. Huh?
Well,
All right.
Roger Corman's Roger Corman.
You're right.
Okay.
Well, thanks to Star Video, 3117 South Grand.
That's soon to be moving, Jim. I think to 3143 South Grand or something.
You're kidding.
I don't know. I
saw
a sign.
Again?
Well, it's not. They're moving a few doors away. It doesn't matter. There's a sign on the window, so you'll know
it'll
when
be close anyway.
It's about a block away. Thanks a lot to Star Video. This has been the St. Louis Brain Sandwich Movie Review.
Are you guys watching those god-awful movies again?
Oh, no, of course not. No.
Gene,
We're watching It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, with
Jimmy Stewart. And Donna Reed.
It's our favorite.
Well, I don't care what you're doing now, but dear, did you go to the grocery store for me?
Oh, yeah, sure we did. We didn't forget that, did we?
No,
Jim?
no, we got eggs.
And butter.
And milk.
And cheese.
And baby food.
And food
for the gods.
What do you mean, food for the gods? I needed food for the dog.
Yeah. That's it. Food for the dog. We got it backwards, I guess.
We didn't mean food for the dog. Food for the dog. That's right, huh?
You guys are acting awfully flustery. I have a feeling you're just trying to put one over on me again.
No. Sometimes we just get things backwards. God, dog.
Yeah, God, dog. It's easy. Food of the gods, food of the dog. Same thing.
Okay, well, fine. I'm going to go upstairs, you poop mock nins.
What's that? What's poop? What is that? Is that a nice name?
Well, you figure it out, you neurons. Good night.
Good night. Poopmog, Nim.
Oh, I bet it's.
It sounds Alaskan to me.
I bet it's an Eskimo term of endearment.
Yeah, she wanted to say that to you because.
Good night, honey pie.
And
That's nice.
Nora.
It doesn't matter.
Jay,
Anyway,
wait.
It doesn't
Nora,
matter. No, it isn't. Never mind. What's
Okay.
really important.
What is it?
Well, she said it again.
She said it again.
We said it again.
Yeah,
If you
we
let us
said
get
it.
by
Oh, I
with
know what it is. It's Food of the Gods.
It is Food of the Gods.
Sure,
but
it's
it's really
Food of the
Food of the Gods Part 2.
Part 2.
Even better, yeah.
Oh, great.
Anyway, it's the same animals that got real big, you know?
Yeah.
Except all the other animals are really gone. You don't even see all the big animals anymore. All you see are big rats. So that's okay, because they're okay, too.
Okay,
They're
okay.
That's okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that it's just rats, because what really makes the whole movie neat
Yeah, what
is that the
happens?
rats run around all over the place, and they kill everybody.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
let's put
good,
it in.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Kind of early for hunting season, ain't it, Doc?
Steve, what the hell are you doing down here? It's not safe.
Tell that to the kids freezing their asses off and Farquharson. Heat's off. Besides, I've been coming down here for 20 years. Ain't nothing gonna sneak up on me.
Just keep your eyes open. Give us a holler if you see anything.
Like giant rats, Doc?
Yeah, Jay, I tell you, that kind of sneaks up on you, don't it? Good little scene there with it. That was the handyman that roamed the corridors of the pipes and everything down below the school in this little electrified cart. Of course, he got his back eaten off by these giant rats that were down there. This is Food of the Gods too, Jay. And I don't know why, but we didn't write down who made it or who's in it. But nothing caught our eye, so I guess it doesn't matter too much, does it?
Well, it does matter, Jim. Of course it matters. The reason we didn't write it down is because you were in such a hurry to watch the thing. You thought it was going to be the best movie you'd ever seen, and you wanted to watch it, so you wouldn't let me write down the names of the people that were in it.
All right.
You have to do this. If you're trying to do it, all right.
Let me try and help you out. Okay, the lead's played by this guy in the plaid
stop
shirt
it.
with these glasses
Jim,
and brown hair.
Come on, look, you're supposed to
And
be
a
a big-time
supporting actor
reviewer.
has a
That's not
checkered
professional.
sweater
That's ridiculous.
with a beard.
Jim, that makes about as much sense as reporting a funeral and somebody says, well, who died? And you say, I don't know, the one in the big black station wagon. It's ridiculous.
Well, okay, you're right. I should have written them down, but it still doesn't matter, Jay, because this isn't really a sequel. They say Food of the Gods 2.
Besides, Jim, there might have been another Cindy Magoon in it as a supporting actress. That would have made you like it a whole lot.
I would have seen that, Jay, if there had been somebody in it like that. None of the names were any good. That's why I didn't write them down. Okay. So let me just tell you, I didn't like this, Jay. I mean, I liked parts of it, but overall I didn't like it because it's not a sequel. All they did was redo the first movie, Food of the Gods, but they did it in San Francisco instead of out in the country in some little island or something. And, they did it, they didn't just find this stuff oozing out of the ground. This scientist synthesizes it in his lab. And then you end up with the giant rats running around, and that's it, And
Not to mention the giant 13-year-old kid.
I wouldn't mention it, but you had to. And he was interesting, but I thought that, now the book goes from the original, which was where the farmer discovers the food of the gods and feeds it to his chickens, and they run around, they get huge, and, everything else starts eating it, and everything gets big. And then the book goes on where people start eating it, and then they all get real big, and then there's a whole society of huge people, and all the little people are kind of, they're the minority now, and they're growing big food, and, who knows. So I thought that was what it was going to be, but it didn't turn out to be that.
Well, Jim, now that you mention the Food of the Gods 1, I liked that a lot, too, and I agree with you. I didn't like this movie very much at all. It was really a bad sequel. But it just reminds me of how good the first Food of the Gods really was.
Yeah, it was.
There was that wonderful scene where they first discover that something on this island is going wrong. This is in Food of the Gods 1.
Yeah.
And these two guys, a star and another guy, drive up to some farmhouse in a Jeep, and the guy doesn't see anybody at the farmhouse. He knows that something's awry here. So he's looking around. He wanders into the barn, and when he walks into the barn, he's immediately attacked by like 7 40-foot-high chickens that are in this barn, and they're plucking at him and everything, trying to kill him. When he finally grabs a pitchfork, he keeps them away with a pitchfork while he gets out of the barn, runs back to the Jeep, gets in, doesn't say anything to the guy he's with, and drives up. So we better get back into town.
Right, they go back to town. They don't say anything to anybody, and they never mention it through the whole movie.
And the guy who was driving the Jeep didn't even say anything to his partner in the Jeep. He just got attacked by 7 50-foot chickens. It was little touches like that made the first movie so wonderful. This one had none of that. Well, very little of that kind of humor and originality.
Well, the best part was just a dream sequence that the doctor had where he was with a lady and he grew into giant proportions while he was with her. I can't really describe it very well, but it was pretty good. I like that part of it.
Except she didn't. I doubt that she survived.
I don't think so. No.
I mean, it sort of reminded me of a dry martini with an olive on a toothpick, if you know what I mean. But it doesn't matter. It was kind of it was a pleasant scene in a way, and they really did it kind of tastefully. It wasn't awful or anything. But it turned out to be a dream anyhow, and she didn't really die. But the movie really didn't have very many redeeming parts to it. There were a couple things maybe that made it worth watching, maybe.
Well, there was one in particular. They kind of played up the animal rights thing a lot. They kind of that was how this whole thing got out of hand. Was these animal rights people came in and destroyed this lab where the food of the gods was, and these rats, and they all ate the stuff, and off they went, and rampaging through the countryside. But they kind of played it up through the whole thing. In fact, the doctor here, we're just watching this scene where this doctor who was doing cancer research on dogs, and he'd have all these dogs laying out with these open wounds and and cancerous lesions and stuff. He was a horrible guy. He just got totally eaten up by this cancer because he mixed it with the food of the gods and cut himself, and it was great. He just turned into this big pustule and then kind of oozed onto the floor, and that was the end of him. It was kind of just desserts. But that was about it. That's about all I liked about it. Well, no, it wasn't, Jay. I lied again. There is a scene coming up right here that I think was pretty funny. And basically what's happened is an accident's just occurred. These giant rats are running around. Well, they kill this guy, and then they cause this accident to happen. And there's two cops. The cops talking to the doctor, and here's what they had to say.
All finished, Lieutenant? Well, there's a few things that concern me. I'd like this tidied up as soon as possible. Dean, you can't ignore this. This is just a car accident. Since when do cars eat your liver?
That's a good line, Jay.
It is, Jim. But you know what he said before? He said, I like this tidied up a little bit. Of course, he's talking about this two-car accident with fatalities.
Right.
What was really funny about this is that the scene in the movie earlier when the accident took place was at night.
Right.
And here we see them now about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. There's bodies hanging out upside down, the blood all over the place. One guy's got his liver eaten out. They're still hanging out of the car, hanging out of the windows. It's like 15 hours later, and they've still got him dead out there in the middle of Main Street in this town. It's just great.
I like that scene. That was fun. And later on, what happens is that the rats are running around. Of course, he's trying to find an antidote to the food of the gods, which he discovered. And of course, he discovers it.
Alka-Seltzer, the guy.
I think it was Alka-Seltzer. Yeah. He discovers it. He throws it on the scientists that melted, and it kind of neutralizes them, so that they know they have to get this into the rats somehow. Well, all along, there's this thing. That was the dean. I made a mistake. I said it was a cop. That was the dean he was talking to who said it's just an accident, and he said, well, they don't eat your liver. The dean has this thing planned at the new sports facility where all these bigwigs and alumni and everything are coming, and he's such a jerk. I mean, you want him to get killed. And he says, well, look, we got to get everything tidied up so that the alumni don't see this, so they'll donate a lot of money to the school. Well, of course, we know what's going to happen, Jay, I mean, here's this swimming pool, and the rats are underneath in the tunnels, right? And so the whole scene starts happening. There's this big speech, and he's saying how wonderful the sports facility is going to be. And then, of course, the rats come up, and they get in the swimming pool. They start eating this synchronized swim team, Jay. It's wonderful. And the dean has another great line in here before they all get eaten. You got to hear this.
This is also the occasion of our first annual synchronized swimming championships. And I know that this will be an evening none of us will ever forget.
Well, Jim, I'll tell you what, it won't be a night that nobody will ever forget, but I'm going to forget this movie as soon as it's convenient for me to do so, because this is really bad.
Jay, you just don't appreciate this. I kind of like that synchronized swim team. They all kind of.
I thought you didn't like this movie.
Well, I don't. Well, I kind of like it more than I thought I did. But the synchronized swim team was great. They go in the water together, and they swim. All the strokes are the same, and they put their legs up in the air, and then they kind of go down. They twirl around. What?
Did you watch the same movie I did?
Yeah.
For one thing, the whole synchronized swimming team, which was a real synchronized swimming team, by the way, they all looked like Margaret Thatcher with nose clips and little hats. And for a while there, when they were attacked by the rats, they got all their little legs up in the air, and they're doing these little motions. There's no bodies attached to the legs.
Jay, well, yeah, but that's the idea. I mean, we knew the rats were coming because they set it up whenever anybody says that, you know they're coming. It's like, gee, nothing exciting ever happens around here, and then whoop, 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 uh-oh, there's that sound again, Jay.
But it's just a bad movie. How can you possibly think that that's
Well, I don't know. I think I'm going to change my mind. I didn't think I liked it at first, but I kept mentioning all these scenes I like, so I don't know.
You're totally wrong about this movie. You
I
were
guess
right
I'm
at the
gonna give it-
beginning, and you're totally wrong now. It's worth one lobotomy.
Well,
One and a half lobotomies.
Not a great
at
movie,
most.
but 3 lobotomies at least.
lobotomies, you're
well, I
absolutely
like
wrong.
the 3 scenes. I like the the animal rights thing. That was good, and all the morons got
Well,
it.
at least you're batting 50-50 tonight.
How's that?
Well, I think you were right about Ted Drews on South Grand being better than the one out on Chippewa.
Oh, it is.
Well, I think you're right.
It
but
tastes
you're wrong
different
about
and it's
this,
better.
But you're wrong about this movie.
Well, okay. Well, I can accept half. 50-50. That's pretty good for one night.
Well, we want to thank Star Video at 3117 South Grand in St. Louis for the use of this movie this week for the Brain Sandwich movie review.
Jay Poop Mock Nims?
Yeah, I really wonder what she meant by that. I mean, it really had to be Alaskan.
Had to be Alaskan. Poop Mock Nims.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Noram. I bet that's
Noram.
some Swedish term that means like strong, mighty warrior or
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like that. She always calls me things like that.
Does she? Oh, you Poop Mock Nim.
Oh, you Noram.
Ooh, thanks.
Let's go find another movie.
Okay.